We use for loops all the time in Python, but how do they really work behind the scenes? In this video, I want to go over the iterator protocol, and then I want to show you how we can kind of sort of implement the for loop by ourselves using a generator function. So I'm going to show you some really simple code here. I'm going to say for one character in ABCD, print one character. And you will not be surprised, I hope, to find that it prints ABCD. So what's really going on here? What is really happening? Well, this is the iterator protocol. And basically what it means is that, first of all, the for loop turns to the object at the end of the line. In this case, that's the string ABCD, right? And asks it, are you iterable? And it does that by invoking iter. And basically, if the object is not iterable, then iter raises a type error exception. And that's when it ends. And we'll see that in a moment. Okay, so then the for loop, right? Otherwise, if it's successful, I should say, then it returns the object's iterator. This is a special object that knows how to give us one value at a time from this original object. In some cases, the iterator is the object itself. For example, in the case of files. Files are their own iterators. Generators are their own iterators. But strings are not. Strings return a special string iterator. Dictionaries have a bunch of different iterators for keys, for values, for items. All right, so we get back the iterator. And then for turns to the iterator and runs next on it. Well, once again, one of two things can happen. If there are no more values to share, then the iterator raises stop iteration. And I just want to stop there for a moment, no pun intended, and point out that that's right. Every single time you run a for loop in Python, it ends with an exception. All right, so people who say that exceptions are very heavy or they're not used much in Python, no, they're actually used all the time and they're very lightweight. They have to be because they're used in every single loop. And if there is a value, then we get it back and can assign it. And then basically, we run the loop body with the loop variable having its value from the iterator. And then we go back to line 2, right? And that's the loop again and again and again. So how could we implement this ourselves using my little example from before? Well, what if I wanted, let's write a function that goes over the values one at a time, right? So I could say def my for, and we'll have data. Okay, this is going to be very sort of, high level here. And then what do I want to do? Well, I want to get one value a time. So I can say here I equals iter of data. Okay, and if that blows up, fine, that blows up. We've seen that happen before. And then what? Well, I want to get one value at a time, right? I want to be something while, well, I mean, I could use for, right? But the whole point of this is to implement for. So I want to say while, but while how long? And here is one of the important things to understand about the iterator protocol in Python. The for loop doesn't know how many iterations it's going to do. It doesn't know what values it's going to get. It just says, I'm going to keep trying again and again and again. It could be 0 values. It could be infinite values. It could be somewhere in between. We don't know, so we're going to say here while true, right? We're going to do an infinite loop. And I'm going to say here value equals next of I. And then I can say here something like print value, right? So far, so good. Except it's not, right? Because now I'm going to get them all at once. So I'm actually going to I don't want to print it. I want to sort of give it back. So what, am I going to return it? If I say return of the value, well, then the function's going to exit after the first value. That's not really what I want either. So I'm going to say yield value. And this is basically what's going on in a for loop. I mean, obviously, there's sort of multiple layers of iterators going on here. But what I'm saying is my for, when I run it on data, will give me the first, then the second, then the third, then the fourth. And then when it's done, well, it's going to, exit. Well, wait, that's actually not what's going to happen here at all. I'm going to go next, and it's going to keep going until it also crashes. Now, if it gives me an unhandled exception from iter, that's okay. That happens in Python. But an unhandled exception with next, that's not what for loops do. For loops don't actually show us an unhandled exception from stop iteration. They trap stop iteration. So I'm going to say here, try to get the next value, and accept stop iteration. Then we'll just say break. We're going to break out of our while loop. By the way, I'm going to move this up here. So basically, with each iteration, we're going to say, right, get me the value and then yield it. I mean, I could print it if I really want to, right? I mean, if I want to do exactly what I had before, I can say print value. But if I want to sort of return in a nice way, I can say yield value. And what we've done here is we've created our own little for loop. So now if I say, right, my for of ABCD, what's it going to return? Well, actually, it's going to return a generator. But if I stick that inside of a list, look at that. I get A, B, C, and D. And if I stick inside of a tuple, I get a tuple A, B, C, D. And if I stick inside of, I don't know, something else, I'll get, A, B, C, D. So what's happening here is you can see it now right in front of you, the three parts of the iterator protocol. Here I'm asking, we ask once for the object iterator, a second time, or multiple times, or so, repeatedly, we ask for the next value from that iterator. And then basically, when we get stop iteration from the iterator, we exit from the loop. And we don't tell the caller that there was a stop iteration at all. That just happens. And remember, when we break here, we break out of the while loop. That takes us to the end of the function. And of a generator function, it just exits. So we get the end of the iterations there. All right, I hope that this helps you to understand the iterator protocol better. If you have other questions about this or anything else in Python or Pandas, leave your comments, leave your questions. Don't forget to, as they always say, like and subscribe. And I will be back soon with lots more about Python and Pandas and everything in between. See you then.